Cold emails are absolutely saturated, and any form of cold outbound is just dead. You cannot book any meetings with it, and you definitely cannot close high ticket clients through it. Or so I've been told over the last couple of years from plenty of agency owners trying to make it. Yet somehow we've still been able to make 88K last month with our content agency, and a lot of these new clients that we signed last month actually came in from absolutely cold sources, and we booked them from cold emails, cold LinkedIn messages, and things of that nature. So you might be wondering right now, like, okay, that sounds very interesting. How come I'm sending emails, I'm sending outreaches, and I'm getting 0 calls booked from it? Or even if I get a call, it's some random guy who doesn't even know like what I'm trying to sell him. And yet there are people out there who are making 80K plus per month. Their calendars are booked out and they're getting high quality leads through outreach. Well, let's go through it, because just a couple of years ago, this was me. I was barely making any money, or pretty much not making any money at all, doing 0K a month. I had no calls. I had absolutely no idea about what I was doing, and it just wasn't going too well, right? Yet there are still people out there with content agencies who are doing 80K plus a month, and they're booking calls consistently and just crushing it. Okay, how is this possible? What is the difference? Well, let me walk you through it. What's the actual difference between them? If you are right now in the first camp, you're probably landing in spam, have no idea about how to position your service to get responses from people. You probably cannot stay consistent for more than 3 days with your outreach. I know I definitely couldn't. I would just do some outreach for a couple of days. I would get really bored of it or very tired of it, and I would just quit it for a couple of weeks until I was feeling so bad about myself not making any progress again that I would get back to it. Then I would do it for 3 days again, then I would quit it. I was like very up and down with my emotions, very inconsistent. I was also doing low volume. Okay, I wasn't doing anywhere near enough. I was not persistent with my follow-ups. I was not tracking data, so I had no idea what was actually working and what wasn't working. I couldn't find enough high quality leads. Even if I would find a lead, it would take me like way too much time to find it. And it was just a struggle, and I was getting ghosted all the time. Even if I would finally get a response from somebody in the DMs or through an email, I would get back to them and then they wouldn't respond to me anymore. Okay, so this was my life when I first got into the outreach game. And so I was wondering, like, what do the big guys do differently? How is their situation that drastically different from mine? And here's what they do differently. Okay, so those people who are pulling in these kind of numbers with a content agency, here's what they do. So they have 100% deliverability. They're not sending their emails from just a random Gmail account and hoping it lands in the inbox for people. No, like they have 100% deliverability. They know exactly what they can and cannot do to be able to land in inboxes. Then they have a consistent and reliable call booking process. They're not just randomly going about every sales call and every person that they are contacting. They have an actual replicable sales process in place. And their socials are optimized for replies. They actually have content in there, which is high quality, because guess what's the first thing that people do when they see your email and they get interested in what you have to sell? Well, they are going to check your socials, okay? They are absolutely going to look at your YouTube or Twitter or X or Instagram or whatever platform it is that you are using. And also, they are working on outreach and not in it. So they hire a lead scraper and they are doing automated sending. So they are not actually grinding and slaving away in the everyday outreach process. And they have meticulous tracking. They know exactly all their numbers down to the T. They know their open rates, they know their response rates, they know their call booking rates, they know their show up rates and their close rates, so they can actually make projections which are accurate, scale the business with confidence, right? They also do list segmentation. They are not just sending the same message to every single person. They have a couple main categories of people that they are reaching out to, and they alter their messaging slightly depending on who it's going to. They contact minimum 100 people on a bad day, right? They do higher volume than you. Probably your best day, you didn't even reach 100 people with your cold outbound. But these people who are pulling in these sort of numbers, they are doing that on like their worst day, okay? They are doing way more volume than you. And they have high quality sales assets, case studies, client interviews, Miro presentations like this one in place to actually take those people who've shown interest and convert them from being a cold lead to a hot lead before the call actually happens, so they are going to close. So these are just some of the differences maybe between where you are right now, which is where I was just a couple of years ago as well, and what the people are doing who you are trying to be like with your agency and with your outreach. So how do you go then from being this guy to being this guy? So the first step is you want to have a customer avatar. You need to have a very clear niche of who you're selling your service to, and you need to have a very clear idea about the person exactly that you are trying to sell to. And you need to know what they want and what they don't want. So for example, let's say you are targeting email marketing agency owners and you are trying to sell them a YouTube service. Here's my friend Boyan, okay? He's an absolute G. And this was him just a couple of years ago where he wasn't as big of a G because he had these pain points, right, with his email marketing agency. He was relying on referrals. He wasn't booking enough calls. He was struggling to stand out from the competition of all the other email marketing agency owners who are catering to e-com brands. He had no inbound calls coming in. He had no clout. And he was just, like grinding it out in the trenches, right, with cold outbound and stuff. So what he wanted back then, like 4 years ago, was to be this guy who he is right now, who has a nice day date on the wrist. And yeah, jokes aside, like I'm really good friends with Boyan, that's why I'm joking about it. But he wanted to be this person who was niche famous, who had inbound big deals coming in, like 5K, 10K, 15K, 25K deals coming in from YouTube videos without having to put any like extra effort in. So he wanted to become famous in his niche. He wanted to have inbound calls coming in for actually high quality leads and good big deals. He wanted consistent lead flow. And again, he wanted big money coming in, right? And now, after he focused on building his YouTube channel, he's actually been able to do that and go from, doing 20, 30K a month to 250K a month or so. He was actually one of my first clients when I was starting out, and I helped him start off his YouTube channel when I had my YouTube agency. So this is an example of having a clear customer avatar, right? You are targeting a very specific part of the market. You know their exact pain points and what are the things they want as well in their desired outcome. So you have an insanely clear picture and a deep understanding of where they are. And that's the second step, right? You have to have a deep understanding. It's kind of like this, right? This is your avatar right now. These are all the pain points that they are dealing with at the moment. And then they have this dream outcome that they want to be in. These are their desired outcomes, right? Where they want to be in the future. And so there is right now a big gap between these two situations. Right now, maybe they are relying on referrals, they are not getting enough calls, they are struggling to stand out, not having inbound calls, they don't have clout, all of this stuff, right? These are all big pain points that they have at the moment. And they want to be on the other side of this, where they are niche famous, have inbound leads coming in, consistent lead flow and money and so on, right? So what you want to do is have a really deep understanding of these two kind of like versions of reality, their current reality and where they want to be. And your pitch in the email or in the cold message or whatever it is should be the bridge between these two situations. And if you can do this accurately enough, where they really feel like you understand their pain points and where they really feel like you understand exactly what they want and where they want to be, that's when they're going to respond to your emails. So maybe you thought I was going to give you like a cookie cutter email template or whatever in this video. And as much as I would love to give you that, it simply wouldn't work for you, because until you understand these steps, you're never going to make your outreach convert. I'm sorry to break it to you, but it's just the truth, right? So instead of me giving you what you think you want, I'd rather give you what you actually need to hear to be able to find success, because I know how, infuriating it is and stressful it is when you're just trying to make it work. You're trying to find these templates online and these, like outreach message templates, which are going to convert so well for your offer, only to try them and then have zero results and success with it. until you go and actually understand the psychology behind what makes cold outreach convert, you're not going to see success. But once it clicks for you, you're going to be booking calls left and right and closing clients. The third part is service market fit. So this is really important. You might be able to identify a niche that you want to work for, and you might be able to even identify a need or like a desire that they have. So you might think like, okay, I got it because I have this gap and I thought about this already. But if there's no service market fit, it's still not going to work. And I think this is where most people actually kind of screw up, because they think it's enough to just have that gap kind of like defined and have an idea about that. But if your service cannot get them the results that they actually want in the way that they want it, then you are not going to be able to sell it to them. And also, if they don't want to do it, it's going to be really hard to sell it to them, right? So you not only need to have a niche where they have this transformation that they want to make, but it should also be something where your service is actually a solution to their pain points, and it will actually help them get to where they want to be in the way that they want to get there, at the rate and speed which they are kind of willing to wait for. With Bojan's example in this case, like YouTube as the platform for getting clients and the service that was provided, and an email marketing agency, which is his company, emailmarketer.com, it equaled money because he was willing to wait it out until the videos actually started working. He was patient. He understood the long-term vision, right? And he also wanted to make it work. Like, he wanted to get more inbound leads, and the service was able to get him that. And he was willing to do it, and he was willing to be patient for a couple of months until the tangible results started coming in. So there was a service market fit, right? Like, this service was a great fit for this niche, which is email marketing agency owners, because he wanted to do it and it could get him the results that he wanted, right? And that's why it ended up making him a shit ton of money. And we worked together for quite some months, and he's been crushing it ever since as well with his YouTube. The fourth thing you want to do is you want to make it easier. Okay, you cannot make it easy on yourself. You cannot really make cold outreach easy, but you can make it easier. You probably already know what you need to do right now, right? Like, you know that you need to have consistent outreach. You know that you need to have follow-ups. You know that you need to have a high daily volume of outreach you're sending. You know that you need to do content. You know all of these things, right? Like, if you've watched any videos on YouTube or if you've tried at all, you probably already know that these are all things you should be doing. So why don't you do it? Well, because it's hard. Okay, it's really hard to stay consistent. It's really hard to do follow-ups and do it consistently. And it's really hard to reach enough people every single day. And it's really hard to record content and sit down to do it. It requires a lot of willpower and it requires a lot of discipline. I would say in the beginning, it's worth it to grind it out, right? But it's not really something that you probably want to do like long-term. It's not very fun to do these activities. So what can you do about it? Well, again, while you cannot make it fully easy on yourself, you could make it easier. So the first thing that you could do is you could use a software for outreach instead of manually sending out every single email, like Instantly, for example, which is what we use. So you don't have to slave away at sending every single email manually. Instead, what you can do is you can just put in your leads at the kind of like the top of the machine. Instantly is going to send them out for you. It's going to do like the follow-ups for you automatically, and then you just kind of like jump back in once someone shown some initial interest and replied to your first email, and then you can kind of manually take it over from there, right? And if you do it this way, you will actually land in the inbox as well if you do it properly, because it will warm up your domains and you're not going to be sending it from just one domain. You will have multiple, and right, like, it's just a much better way of doing it, in my opinion, if you want to be able to scale. This is not for like, super highly customized emails, but if you're trying to do higher volume and you're trying to book a lot of calls, this is a great way to do it. I have a video on my channel where I break down how my business partner Greg did that revenue with his agency last month. And in that one, you will also be able to see how many calls were booked from Instantly directly. And then the second thing that you could do is you could hire a lead scraper. Okay, so a lead scraper is someone who will go out there, you give them a set of criteria, a set of rules that they should follow, and they will go out there and find high quality qualified leads for you so that you can just start, the outreach to them, and you don't need to manually look for them. And you can easily find someone who will do this for like $0.2 to $0.5 per lead. So for 1,000 leads, you would be paying like $200 to $500, which I know at first it might sound like a lot, but if you have a really well organized and just like amazing copywriting in your email outreach campaign, you have your follow-up set up and everything correctly, then you could be booking a good amount of calls from this, and you only need to close one to make return on your investment immediately. And the fifth thing I would recommend you to do is to learn from others' mistakes. Don't necessarily try to figure all of this out on your own. You could do that, and that's what I tried to do for a long time, but it's gonna be miserable, and most people will find it so hard to figure it out on your own that you will just quit before it would work. So instead, if you can, try to like actually get some help from people who've done it before, because these are all, for example, our clients at Grow Creatives. Here's Lachlan. This is just from today. He just signed his first client for 1.6K per month from cold emails. Okay. Here's Matthew. It's a smaller one, but $600, and he's from the Philippines. So that's like quite a good amount of money there. Or here's Daniel. He got half upfront payment for $750 per month. Or here's Clay closing a 1.8K retainer. Or here's Brody, 1.2K. And all of these examples I'm showing you came from cold outreach, by the way. And these guys started from pretty much scratch with us, right? Here's Henry, almost 40K just on Stripe. And he had more like off-platform payments as well in just 90 days. And when he joined GC, he was barely making $1,500 a month. Now he's doing like 15K. So he 10x'd his revenue literally in less than 6 months. Or here's Jason, who came into our program, Grow Creatives, just wanting to make 4 to 5K a month and not have to get a job, right? He didn't want anything crazy, anything outrageous, but he told himself he would try to hit 5K a month. And he actually managed to do it. And he said, crazy how much you can learn from this group if you just commit for a whole year. Here's him sending in another screenshot of another client he just signed there. So I'm trying to show you this to show you that it is actually possible. And just because right now your reality is that, cold emails or cold outreach doesn't work and it's impossible to get started as a beginner, or it's hard to get consistent calls booked in, it doesn't mean that that's the reality and that's the truth, okay? If you do these 5 steps, which I told you today, which is having a clear customer avatar, having really deep understanding of that niche, finding service market fit as well, and making it easy on yourself, then you can absolutely get results like this as well. And in the future, I will also make some more videos going deeper as well into like the copywriting of their outreach and all of that stuff. Learn from others' mistakes. Don't try to do it all on your own if you want to save time. So if you want help with doing all of this stuff, which we just talked about today, you can find a link below this video where you can book in a call directly with me, right? For now, I am the one doing all the calls. And you can apply to work with us one-on-one. We're only looking for very serious and committed people, but if you watched a 20-minute video, then you're probably already ahead of 99% of people out there right now. So I really hope to see you there on that call. Otherwise, I really hope you got some value from this video, and I hope you are going to be, sending me some screenshots like this as well in a couple of months after implementing everything from here. And I will see you guys in the next one.